We're back for another episode and another deep dive. Let's get ready.
Hey everyone, buckle up because today we're diving into the world of computer vision. And no, it's not about like robots learning to see or anything. We're talking about how this technology is really changing the game for marketers, giving us this whole new way to understand and connect with people.
Right, exactly. At its core, computer vision is really a field of AI. And what it does is it allows machines to actually see and interpret images, much like we do. But instead of just recognizing, a picture of a cat, we're talking about understanding all the nuances of that visual data, the emotions behind it, the context, even like a story the image might be telling. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, so paint me a picture here. How does all this actually work in the real world? Got an example?
Sure, let's talk about Pinterest, right? Imagine trying to scroll through like billions of images. Impossible for us, right? But Pinterest uses computer vision to power its visual search. So you see a cool jacket online, you snap a picture of it, and boom, Pinterest analyzes that image, picks out all the key features, and instantly it pulls up all these visually similar styles. That's computer vision in action.
Right. It's like having a personal stylist sifting through a mountain of clothes just for you. I've used it, and it's shockingly accurate. You mentioned identifying key features there. Can you break that down a bit more? How's computer vision actually see those features?
So imagine the computer breaking down the image into this grid, kind of like pixels, but on a larger scale. It analyzes each section for edges, shapes, colors. Those are the basic building blocks. But then it goes a step further. It starts recognizing patterns, combinations of those features to identify, say, okay, that's a sleeve, that's a collar, even the texture of the fabric, like teaching a machine to see each brushstroke in a painting and then stepping back to appreciate the whole picture.
That's wild. So it's not about matching identical pixels. It's more about understanding the underlying structure, the patterns that make up an image. And this tech isn't just for fashion, is it? We're talking all sorts of marketing here.
Oh, absolutely. One area that's really taking off is in understanding customer sentiment. We all know that images can make us feel something, evoke emotions, but now computer vision can actually analyze images to try and interpret those emotions.
Wait, hold on. A computer can tell if a picture makes someone feel like happy or sad? How is that even possible?
Think about it this way. When we see a photo of, say, a smiling baby, our brains instantly register certain visual cues, right? The curve of the baby's lips, the twinkle in their eyes, the soft, rounded shapes. Computer vision can be trained to recognize those same cues and associate them with positive sentiment.
Okay, so it's not that the computer is like feeling emotions itself. It's more like it's learned to recognize the visual language of emotions, right? That's incredible. But how are marketers actually using this in campaigns? Give me the real world stuff.
Let's say you're a travel company, right? And you're using all these stunning landscapes in your advertising. Computer vision can analyze those images to actually see if they're evoking feelings of awe, wanderlust, that sense of relaxation in your target audience. Or maybe you're a clothing brand and you want to make sure your latest campaign is projecting a sense of confidence and empowerment. Computer vision can help you analyze those images, even the model's poses, to ensure they're aligning with those desired emotions.
Okay, that's huge. It's like you're getting inside the minds of your consumers and seeing how they respond to your visuals. It's not just about hoping your message is landing anymore. You have these data-driven insights to back it up.
Exactly. And this is really just the tip of the iceberg. Computer vision is being used to analyze everything from like social media posts to product packaging, all to understand how those visuals are hitting with consumers and whether they're lining up with the brand's message.
This is all so fascinating. And I can't help but think about the implications for marketing ROI, right? If you can understand how your visuals are performing, you can tweak them, optimize them for better engagement, and ultimately, better results.
Absolutely. And honestly, we're only just beginning to scratch the surface of what's possible with this tech.
Well, on that note, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about a specific company that's doing some really cool things with computer vision in marketing, MediaMonk.ai. We've mentioned them briefly before, but I'm curious to go a little deeper into their whole deal.
Oh, they're definitely pushing boundaries. One of the most fascinating things they're doing is using computer vision to basically turn complex data into easily digestible content. Imagine you've got all the sales data, charts, graphs, the kind of stuff that makes most people's eyes glaze over. Well, MediaMonk can take that data, analyze it, and automatically generate this super clear, engaging article that just summarizes the key insights, just like that.
Okay, that is huge for marketers who are trying to get across like complex info to a wider audience. Not everyone loves staring at spreadsheets all day, right? But an article that breaks it all down makes it easy to understand. That's marketing gold.
It is. And it's not just about making data pretty, you know. MediaMonk also uses computer vision to analyze things like product labels, turning them into like super detailed descriptions for e-commerce sites, saves marketers tons of time, and makes sure those descriptions are accurate and, importantly, optimized for search engines.
Wow, that's brilliant. They found a way to automate this thing that used to take hours of just like manual work. And I can see how this would be a game changer for businesses of all sizes, especially those smaller companies that don't have the resources for a big marketing team.
Absolutely. And what's really cool is that MediaMonk is just one example, right? There are all these companies out there developing crazy, innovative computer vision solutions for marketing, and the whole field is just constantly evolving.
This is all so exciting. I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of what computer vision can do in marketing. But before we go too far down that rabbit hole, I want to take a step back and talk about the challenges and, the ethical considerations that come with this tech, because with great power comes great responsibility. Am I right?
Absolutely. And that's a conversation for another time.
All right. So we've really established that computer vision is changing how marketers connect with people. But before we get too carried away with all the possibilities, I kind of want to pump the brakes for a sec and address the elephant in the room,
Yeah.
the challenges. Where are the bumps in the road with this tech?
Yeah, that's a great point. One of the biggest things we have to think about is data quality, right? Remember, computer vision algorithms are kind of like students. They're only as good as the information we teach them with.
So garbage in, garbage out, like they say.
Exactly. If we're training these algorithms on blurry pictures, poorly lit photos, or even data sets that just aren't diverse enough, not representative of the real world, then the results are going to reflect that.
Makes sense. Like trying to bake a cake with expired ingredients. You might end up with something that looks like a cake, but it's not going to taste very good.
Exactly. We need to be feeding these algorithms a rich, diverse, diet of high-quality images. So that means making sure the pictures are clear, well-lit, and captured from different angles. And it also means being really mindful of diversity in those data sets, making sure they represent different ethnicities, genders, ages, all sorts of cultural contexts.
Right, because a computer vision system trained to recognize, a coffee cup in, say, America, might not know what to make of a traditional Japanese tea ceremony, right?
Precisely. The more diverse those data sets, the more accurate and robust our computer vision algorithms will be. And that's super crucial for avoiding bias and making sure this tech is being used ethically, responsibly.
And speaking of ethical considerations, that's another big one, right? I mean, we've talked about data privacy and bias in algorithms. What else should marketers be thinking about as they start actually using this stuff in their strategies?
Well, transparency is huge. Consumers need to know how their data is being used, especially when we're talking about something as personal as their image. Marketers really need to be upfront about what data they're collecting, how they're using it, and of course, what they're doing to protect privacy.
Yeah, because let's be real, even if a company's using computer vision for something that seems harmless, like personalized product recommendations, it can still feel kind of creepy to have your picture analyzed without, actually knowing about it.
For sure. Trust is so important these days, especially online, and transparency is really the foundation of that trust. If people don't feel good about how their data is being used, they're just not going to engage with that brand.
So it's not just about, checking the boxes and following the rules when it comes to data privacy. It's about going above and beyond to build that trust with people.
Exactly. And, that ties into another ethical thing to think about: accountability. We, as marketers, need to be responsible for what happens because of our computer vision projects.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so let's say a company is using computer vision to target ads based on facial recognition. Now, what if that algorithm messes up and misidentifies someone, or even worse, reinforces a harmful stereotype? Who takes responsibility for that?
That's a really good point. We can't just trust these algorithms to, make ethical decisions for us.
Exactly. We need to have systems in place to monitor these algorithms, identify those biases or errors, and then fix them quickly. It's also really important to have clear rules, protocols for dealing with situations where computer vision could infringe on someone's privacy or, even cause harm.
It sounds like this is one of those things where collaboration is key, right? This isn't just a marketing problem. It's a whole societal issue. We need ethicists, policymakers, tech people, everyone, really.
Absolutely. We need open conversations and collaborations if we want to make sure this technology is being used ethically and responsibly.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges, the ethical stuff, but let's not end on a downer. What's next for computer vision in marketing? What trends are you excited about?
One thing I'm really interested in is how computer vision is being used in augmented reality, AR, and virtual reality, VR. Imagine trying on clothes virtually just by using your phone's camera or taking a virtual tour of a hotel room before you book it.
That's so cool. So instead of just seeing a picture of a dress online, I could use AR to actually see how it would look on me in my living room.
Exactly. And picture this, using VR to walk through a store that's been totally personalized based on your past purchases, or even talking to a virtual sales assistant who can answer all your questions and make recommendations just for you.
That takes personalized marketing to a whole other level.
For sure. And honestly, that's just scratching the surface when it comes to AR and VR. As this stuff gets even more advanced and easier to use, there are going to be so many possibilities for marketers.
I'm also really curious about how computer vision can be used to make marketing more accessible.
Yeah, that's a really important point that doesn't get talked about enough. Computer vision can help make marketing more inclusive for people with disabilities. Imagine a website that uses computer vision to describe images to someone who can't see them, or a chatbot that can understand sign language.
That's amazing. It's really cool to think about how we can use this technology not just for flashy marketing campaigns, but to make the world a more inclusive, accessible place for everyone.
Yeah, and it's not just about making products and services more accessible, but also making sure the marketing campaigns themselves are accessible and relatable to everyone.
So it seems like the big takeaway here is that computer vision isn't just some shiny new toy for marketers to play with. It's this powerful tool we can use to create experiences that are more personalized, more ethical, and more accessible for everyone. So we've really gone deep on computer vision in marketing today, huh? It's pretty amazing to think about how it's changing how we reach people.
Yeah, and I think we did a good job of showing both the amazing potential and, the importance of being ethical and responsible.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up this deep dive, any last words of wisdom for our listeners, especially those who are, fired up and ready to try this stuff out?
I'd say don't be afraid to experiment a little, This whole field is still so new and ever-changing, which is exciting. The coolest innovations are still to come, I bet. But always remember the human side of things. Computer vision should help us better understand and connect with our audience, not replace real connections.
I love that. It's easy to get caught up in the tech itself, but ultimately it's about using it to create better experiences for everyone, more meaningful, more valuable, Thanks for joining us on this wild ride into the future of marketing.
That's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed today's deep dive, don't forget to hit the follow or subscribe button. Until the next episode, keep innovating, keep growing, and keep marketing deeply.